Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to Mindful Combat. If you're new to this channel, firstly, my name's Rohan. Please help me to grow my platform by hitting the subscribe button and getting involved in the conversation in the comment section below. Maybe give me a quick shout out on Twitter or something like that. Get the word out, share out the video with friends and family that are interested in fighting, boxing, MMA, whatever it is, and help me to grow my platform. Help me hit 700 subscribers, which I'm inching towards, clawing, fighting my way up, and I need your help to help me get there. Now, for this video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown on an upcoming main event heavyweight fight between Francis Ngannou and Junior Dos Santos. This is a fight that's very important in the heavyweight division, particularly with the divisional sweepstakes going on as to whether or not Daniel Cormier will retire after he fights Stipe. If he beats Stipe, then potentially we're going to be left with a vacant heavyweight title, and the winner of this fight is very much going to find themselves in line to fight for it. With everything that's gone on in the background, both of these gentlemen's history as well, and where they stand in the division, you've got to assume that the winner of this is going to put themselves in prime position to fight for the heavyweight title, whether it be vacant or whether it be against the winner of Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic. Now, this is a fight I'm going to find very hard to make a prediction for, and I'm going to go through my breakdown, but me and my boy Wyatt, we disagree on this. And actually, I disagree with a lot of people on this fight, but I disagree with no great deal of confidence in my prediction. So let's get into this fight, and I'll break it down. So firstly, as always, let's start into the tail of the tape. So coming into this fight, Francis Ngannou is 32 years old. Now, he's always regarded as a young heavyweight, and at 32, you might be thinking, well, that's not that young. Well, you got to think about it like this. He's only had 16 professional fights. His record is 13-3, so he's not vastly experienced in mixed martial arts. He's also not been training for a huge amount of time, so his body's not had wear and tear, damage, etc. He's still very much new in the game. He's still developing and learning. And Francis Ngannou is a guy who's still very much honing his skills to reach the best or his peak levels of performance. And at 32 years old, I still feel like he's got plenty of growth to be had, particularly in the heavyweight division where guys have a larger shelf life than, say, a bantamweight, for example. He fights Junior Dos Santos, who 3 years his senior, is 35 years old. He's definitely getting on there in age, particularly when you consider all the wars and all the fights that Junior Dos Santos has been in. You've got to consider that hitting 35 years old and getting older now does it bear witness, and he hasn't looked like he's aged. Matter of fact, since his comeback, he's looked like he's a rejuvenated fighter. So it's interesting to see how this fight plays out. Like I said, Francis Ngannou has a record of 13 wins and 3 losses. He comes into this fight of back-to-back wins, and he fights Junior Dos Santos, who has a record of 21 wins and 5 losses. He comes into this fight with 3 straight wins in the heavyweight division. So both of these guys are riding prime positions to be fighting for a title for the winner of this fight. So this is a very important fight. Francis Ngannou stands at 6'5" tall, which is 1 inch taller than Junior Dos Santos, who's 6'4" tall. Now here's a huge gap. Francis Ngannou has an 83-inch reach, which is 6 inches longer than Junior Dos Santos' reach, who has a 76-inch reach. Just let that settle in for a second. He has a 6-inch reach, 7-inch reach advantage over Junior Dos Santos. That's key. That's going to play into this fight, particularly when you consider the styles of both of these gentlemen. Speaking of their styles, I would consider that they are both boxing heavy fighters. Francis Ngannou definitely has shown that he's obviously he submitted Anthony Hamilton and he's trying to round out his games. He throws some kicks, but he's a boxer. His skill set based around his boxing, which is very much the same with Junior Dos Santos. He's a boxer. He's got very crisp, sharp hands. He likes to box. He likes to throw his hands. And Junior Dos Santos has very good hands. He's a boxer. He has got a well-rounded game. He's demonstrated wrestling. He's got good kicks, cartwheel kicks, leg kicks. Look what he done Stipe Miocic's legs with the leg kicks. Cartwheel kick KO of Mark Hunt was absolutely sensational. He took down Shane Carwin twice. He's got a well-rounded game, but he's also a boxer. Now, let's look at some of the key wins. So for Francis Ngannou, his key wins are really the 2 wins over Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes is a top 10 heavyweight in the world. He knocked out Cain Velasquez in Cain Velasquez's comeback fight and kind of really showed the world, don't sleep on me, don't forget about me just yet, just because of my few bad performances. And he knocked out Alistair Overeem where he sent his head into orbit. So that was a key win for him. For Junior Dos Santos, he has a lengthy resume and a long list of key wins, and this is one of the key things in this fight for me. Junior Dos Santos debuted with a huge knockout win over Fabricio Werdum. He knocked out Mirko Cro Cop back in 2008, 2009, so back then when Cro Cop was still very much relevant. He took out Roy Nelson when Roy Nelson had won the Ultimate Fighter and had followed that up with a knockout win of his own. So that was considered a title contender fight. He took out Shane Carwin when Shane Carwin was trying to rebound from his loss to Brock Lesnar. Shane Carwin was an animal. For those of you guys who never got familiar with Shane Carwin, because he retired back in 2012 or 2011, I believe was his last fight. Go check out some of his fights and you'll see what a true monster really is. And Shane Carwin was very similar to Francis Ngannou in a lot of ways, in that he was a huge man that had ferocious knockout power and relied predominantly on his boxing. I'll say Ngannou is a lot more athletic than Shane, that he moves better. But anyway, I'm digressing. Check out Shane Carwin. He knocked out Cain Velasquez in 2000 in the first ever UFC on Fox card to win the heavyweight title, which was an incredible win. He knocked out Frank Mir to defend his title. He knocked out Mark Hunt when Mark Hunt was on a run, back when Mark Hunt had won 4 fights in a row. He beat Stipe Miocic in a back and forth grueling war in the main event. That was another UFC on Fox card, I'm sure. And then he beat guys like Ben Rothwell, who was streaking at the time. In his current run, he's beaten Derek Lewis, he's beaten Blagoy Ivanov, and he's beaten Tai Tuivasa. Gave Tai Tuivasa the first loss of his career, and as you've seen, Blagoy Ivanov has won back-to-back fights, so that was a good win. So Junior Dos Santos has a long list of great wins on his ledger. He's beaten some great names. He's been in there with a vast amount of different styles of fighting in mixed martial arts. He's fought a lot of guys that have very different style sets from each other, and Junior Dos Santos has really shined. When we're coming into this fight, when you're thinking about the issues and the X factor, for me, for Francis Ngannou, his issues are always going to be his cardio and his wrestling. Can he hold up in a 5-round fight, and has he improved his wrestling? For Junior Dos Santos, the issues are going to be his wear and tear. He's had a lot of wars, even the fights that he's won. The fight that I mentioned with Stipe Miocic, the one that he won, is going to have impact on him. He's been knocked out by Stipe. He's been knocked out by Alistair Overeem. He had 2 absolutely beat down wars courtesy of Cain Velasquez and that trilogy, and stuff like this starts to pile up. Where is he? What does he have left? Now, he has looked rejuvenated to me, especially recently. Maybe that time off that he had to serve his suspension actually done him some good, so it's funny how that works out. The X factor for me when it comes to Francis Ngannou is going to be his pulverizing power. He has ridiculous knockout power, and he can knock out any man on the earth. And for Junior Dos Santos, his X factor for me has to be his well-rounded game. He's got a great well-rounded game. He's got great kicks, he's got great wrestling, he's got great BJJ. He's obviously very well experienced as well in mixed martial arts. He's seen it and done it all. He's had wars, he's had successful moments. He's a guy that has seen it and done it, everything. Now, let's look into this fight. I feel like this fight will be fought on the feet. Okay, Junior Dos Santos has always historically been hard to take down, and I don't feel like Francis Ngannou is going to go for a takedown. If there is someone that's going to employ wrestling in this fight, that is Junior Dos Santos, and Junior Dos Santos has the means to do so. Now, if I look at both these fighters and I put them against each other, and I look at it step by step on their skills, who has better kicking? Who has a better kicking game? Sorry guys, I get very tongue-tied sometimes because I've talked very fast, but yeah, sorry about that. So, who has better kicks? I would say Junior Dos Santos definitely has better kicks. Who has better wrestling? I would say Junior Dos Santos has better wrestling. Who has better, a better all-rounded, well-rounded game, conditioning? All of the edges I give to Junior Dos Santos. The edge I give to Francis Ngannou is in size, athleticism, and knockout power. Also his freshness. Those are his advantages in coming into this fight, and those are key advantages and make this prediction very hard. But being that I feel like Junior Dos Santos has a more well-rounded game, and even if this was a straight boxing match with put them in a square circle for a 12-round fight, I feel like Junior Dos Santos could have the skills to bounce around, back up, and be able to get the win. Now, Junior Dos Santos' problem in this fight is going to be the same problem he's always had in all of his fights. His spatial awareness is terrible. Now, for a guy who's had as many fights as he has, I always find it so confusing that he always walks backwards or backs himself onto the cage and doesn't give himself an exit strategy. If he does that against Ngannou, and Ngannou puts his cage back on the cage, throws those big bombs, he's going to knock Junior Dos Santos out, and that's what makes this a fight to me a 60-40 fight, maybe even 55-45. It's really hard for me to pick. But being that Junior Dos Santos, I feel like, in my opinion, has a more well-rounded game, and I feel like he has more tools to win this fight, I have to go with the more well-rounded fighter to be able to, get the win. So I feel like this is how this fight will play out. I feel like Junior Dos Santos and Francis Ngannou are going to have a striking fight. I feel like Junior Dos Santos is going to be walking backwards a lot every time they're getting close. I feel like he might even go for a clinch and takedowns. But he's going to lead with a lot of kicks. If you look at Junior Dos Santos' fight with Stipe Miocic, you can see that he is willing to throw heavy leg kicks. I don't feel like Ngannou's the guy to be checking those. Now, those kicks do leave you open to get striked or punched right back in the face. And if Ngannou punches him and lands, he's in big trouble. But I feel like Junior Dos Santos has more tools, and I feel like he's going to employ a game plan that's going to utilize on all of those tools.
feel like he's going to be kicking, he's going to be boxing, he's going to be wrestling. Even if it is to set up his strikes better, even when it comes just to the hands, Junior Dos Santos has always had fast, explosive boxing. He's a real good boxer. I have to lean on Junior Dos Santos to be able to get the win in this fight. So for my official prediction, I'm going with Junior Dos Santos to get the unanimous decision after some very scary moments. Obviously, this is not a fight that I'm confident in picking. I feel like Francis Ngannou can get the win at any moment in time. Just like that, he could get it. But I feel like there's a few things that's making people ride on the Ngannou hype train a lot. Obviously, his win over Cain Velasquez was impressive, but you got to wonder what version of Cain Velasquez was coming into that fight. And yes, I picked Cain Velasquez to win that fight. I'm not trying to take away from the fact that I myself picked Cain Velasquez. But you have to wonder what version of Cain did show up, having had one fight in 4 years. Ngannou obviously was able to connect on him. Ngannou's a very heavy-hitting man, but we've always known that. What we don't know is, has his game improved? Has he developed his skill set enough to be able to go 5 rounds with a true world-class heavyweight? We're going to find out. But my official prediction is Junior Dos Santos to get the win. Anyway, fight fans, comment below and let me know how you guys think this is going to go. I feel like I'm going to get loads of people disagreeing with me on this one, and that's fine. Comment below and let me know why you think Francis Ngannou is going to win. And thank you for watching, guys. Remember to share out the video and hit the like button. Thank you. Mind for Combat.